So one project I've been working on for about the last decade, and I'm trying to pick it up now, is a project called Surasik. Surasik. It's a media project around documenting the expertise, life stories, narratives, and personal histories of maestro musicians from the classical arts of India. Part of this project that I'm expanding on soon, given our degree, is thinking about what does AI mean for Indian classical music. If you go to ChatGPT and you ask, how does this Indian classical music scale work? Who is this Indian classical music person? Whatever. The data available of this art form is so not only absent, but it is so compromised that these AI systems are propagating a very accurate version of Indian classical music and perpetuate this misinformation. So my interest is, we don't have the power to deal with these big tech companies. My kind of interest in this is building better data for these systems.
Yeah, because that's the way to do it from the ground up.
Yeah.
Have you used those models that produce music? I think there's one called Udio, I think. And I mentioned that's that model because you can tell it to produce, quote unquote, any kind of style. But I wonder, what would it do in this landscape? It would be probably something completely wrong.
Not only completely wrong, but to your point, some musicians recently said, oh, AI is not a serious threat to Indian classical music because the human touch is so important. I think that's true.
You've heard that argument.
I think AI will have a hard time replicating the human touch in Indian classical music. But AI will nevertheless have an impress. And that impress should worry everybody.
I see.
Because the beauty of Indian classical music is how it takes humanness and goes to the sublime, or how it goes to the epic refinement of human capabilities. There's a story of, everybody knows Ravi Shankar, Pandit Ravi Shankar, the great sitar player who taught George Harrison of the Beatles the sitar, and is one of the great communicators of this art form. So he would tell the story of, he would go on stage with his percussionist, and at the beginning, they would tune the instruments, and they're very hard to tune instruments. It requires years and years and years just to be able to tune however many dozens of strings that the sitar has, and that the drum is tuned to the tonic of the sitar. So they would finish tuning after maybe a minute and a half, and the audience in the West would break out in applause. And then Ravi Shankar would say to the audience, if you like the tuning so much, wait till you hear the actual words and they hear them. Wow. So it's just an example of the, again, high learning curve for things geared towards excellence. Our AI doesn't really deal with that level of reality yet.